Happy gardening. I am standing underneath my cattle panel. I put it this way so I could have shade, which would give me about a 20-degree difference standing under here. And I'm right beside my beautiful cherry tomato plant. Now these are large cherry tomatoes, and I have one that's starting to turn red, so I'm going to go ahead and take it off, because if I let it get darker than this, between the birds, the squirrels, and if they're low enough, the bunnies will eat them. So I take them off when they begin to, this is called blushing, when they begin to blush instead of being completely yellow or green. When they start to blush, I take them inside and I put them in the window to turn red. Sometimes I miss one or miss another and I'll find a red one, but I try not to let them get that far because I don't have issues with insects eating them as well if I take them as soon as they begin to blush. Now another thing you'll notice is that in this cherry tomato plant, I have lots of stems. I did cut it back, but I'm going to keep it so that it still has some shade, because again, here in Dallas, I'm in a suburb north of Dallas, but we still have very, very high temperatures. In fact, it's going to be in the high 90s today. And I always water first thing in the morning, typically around 7:30 at the latest that I water. And I water deeply. I'm not watering from the tops. I try to keep the leaves dry so I don't have mildew or get any other fungus on the leaves. I just deeply water at the bottom. So at least 30 seconds to a minute for all of my tomato plants. Now this particular tomato plant, again, is going to give me probably close to 200 of these little, these are what's called large cherry tomatoes, and I have some other cherry tomatoes that have the smaller versions, and they won't give me as many as this because they're in pots, so they're not going to be as bountiful as this. Now last year my cherry tomato plant was in a 4x8 bed. I had to dig up all of my beds because they were falling apart, and I moved them to the center instead of against the fence, which meant I lost bed space. So instead of having 2 tomato plants in one bed, I only have one in every 2x4. But it's healthier than the ones that I had last year, and the tomatoes are larger. I seem to have more bountiful tomatoes, meaning I have a larger harvest, even though the plant is not as big as the ones that I had last year. So, and I've really been working hard on making sure that the soil is great. Now, my pear tomato plant is doing just as well, but unfortunately, because we had so much rain at the beginning of June, my Roma tomato plant is not doing as well. And you'll see that one in another video. Well, if you have any questions on cherry tomato plants and how to grow them, I'm in zone 8B actually. And if you have any questions of how to grow your tomatoes, especially in the hot temperatures where they seem to struggle, feel free to reach out. See you in the garden.